Penguin Random House Audio presents What the CEO Wants You to Know, How Your Company Really Works, by Charan. Read for you by David H. Lawrence, the 17th. Dedicated to the hearts and souls of the joint family of 12 siblings and cousins living under one roof for 50 years, whose personal sacrifices made my formal education possible. Part 1. The Universal Language of Business. Chapter 1. How this book can help you. Think back to your school days and the best teacher you ever had. The one who seemed to know everything about his or her subject and had something all the other teachers lacked, the ability to boil down the complex ideas of the discipline, whether it was psychology, economics, mathematics, or chemistry, so that you really got it. Other teachers may have had a great depth of knowledge or fancier credentials, but they couldn't turn on the light bulb over your head. Instead of making something complex seem simple, they did the opposite. They made it harder to understand. I've been in the business world for more than 50 years, beginning when I was a child in my family's small shoe store in India, then working as an engineer in Australia. From there, I moved to America, attended Harvard Business School, taught there and at Northwestern's Kellogg School of Management and Boston University, and have been advising CEOs and serving on boards of directors at companies large and small around the world ever since. The one thing I've noticed in all that time is that the best CEOs are like the best teachers. They are able to take the complexity and mystery out of business by focusing on the money-making fundamentals. And they make sure that everyone in the company, not just their executive colleagues, understands those building blocks of business. You could say that in doing so, they have their self-interest at heart, since the company is more successful when everyone knows how the business works. But it's not just the CEO who benefits. People feel more connected to their work and have greater job satisfaction when they really understand how their organization works. And as the company grows profitably year after year, there are greater opportunities for them to expand their careers and make more money, and the company can make a greater contribution to the community. The same applies to a nonprofit or government agency. That's why the best CEOs everywhere work so hard to explain things. And that's why I want to share with you, in the words of the book's title, what the CEO wants you to know, so that you can learn, grow, and make a greater contribution to not only your organization, but the world around you. Wait, did you say this is true of nonprofits, NGOs, and government agencies too? Sometimes people are surprised when I say that everyone needs to understand the fundamentals of business. They say they work for a government agency, NGO, non-governmental organization, or nonprofit, such as a charity or volunteer group, and this discussion can't possibly apply to them. But it does, although some of the terminology is different. Let's take just one of the 4 key essentials of any organization: managing cash effectively. True, NGOs and government entities usually don't sell things to generate cash, but still, they must make sure they have enough money to operate, both today and in the future. For a nonprofit, that money usually comes from donations. Government agencies receive funding. Similarly, just as in for-profit businesses, NGOs and government agencies need to manage their cash well. Otherwise, they will cease to exist, in the case of a charity, or be reorganized or shut down, in the case of a government agency. The takeaway is simple. All of us, no matter what we do for a living, will be better at our jobs if we learn how money-making tools are applied within our organizations. This is far easier than you think. It turns out that business is very simple and very logical. There are universal principles that apply whether you sell fruit from a stand or run a Fortune 500 company. Every organization must serve its customers, manage its cash effectively, use its assets wisely, and constantly improve and grow. These are the basics. This is business boiled down to its essentials. And those essentials are present in every company anywhere on the globe, despite differences of cultures, dialects, or government regulations. It's always been this way. Think once more about your school days. Once you understood that the atom was made up of protons, electrons, and neutrons, you had the fundamentals to help you solve any chemistry problem. I want to show you that it's the same with business. When you know the fundamentals, you get the basics for how any business operates. My goal in writing this book is to give you the benefit of my experiences observing how some of the most successful people in business think and act. You will see what they do to make their companies and their people world-class. When I wrote that this is what the CEO wants you to know, I meant it. You might be interested in the origins of the book. Jack Nasser, then the CEO of Ford, wanted his employees to know more than what it took to do their jobs well. He also wanted them to understand the entire business so that they could see where their contributions fit in and how they could help the whole company, not just their particular department. He asked me to teach a course to a couple of hundred managers. On day 3, he sat in at the back of the room, and when we took a break, he said, "This is exactly what I want, but it is going to take too long to have you teach everyone. I want you to write a simple, clear book capturing everything you are going to talk about." And so, I did. The best CEOs and street vendors think the same way. They know their cash situation. They know which are their most profitable items. They understand the importance of keeping their products moving off the shelves, and they know their customers, because satisfying customers is what ultimately keeps you in business. What your CEO wants you to know is how these fundamentals of business work, and work together in your organization. By investing a couple of hours in this book, you will. Once you understand them, there is no limit on where you can go in your organization. Before we begin. While I wrote this book for everyone who wants and needs a greater understanding of how their organization really works, there are 2 groups I will be singling out for particular attention. The first is millennials, those 83 million of you born between 1982 and 2000, the largest cohort who has ever lived. You outnumber your baby boomer parents by more than 7 million. Millennials are the drivers of the digital revolution and are now firmly ensconced in the workforce. Those of you who truly understand how your business works will soon be assuming top leadership positions in your organizations. The second is the business-to-business, B2B, sales force. The reason for that is simple. There is an ongoing trend that is only going to accelerate. Rob Bernstein, CEO of Coupa, the cloud-based spend management software firm, calls it value as a service. It's the simple idea that every organization must deliver to the customer something that will lead to quantifiable improvement. This much in cost reductions, this much improvement in lead generation, this much of a rise in revenue, this much of an increase in employee retention, and the like. In the coming years, every corporate purchaser will say, "You want me to buy what you are selling? Fine. Here are the very specific, quantifiable outcomes I want. Prove to me that you are going to deliver them, and I'll buy. If you can't, I won't.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?